Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And today I'm talking about unforgiveness. Why unforgiveness? Most of us don't really know that unforgiveness is what holds us in a place where we don't belong. And we don't really realize that unforgiveness is the source of a lot of unhappiness in our lives. We don't really realize it's also the source of a lot of resentment. We don't realize that unforgiveness is what is silently killing us than allowing us to be and become who we're supposed to be. You may be holding on to unforgiveness of something that has happened to you 10, 15 years ago, and you may not know it's been the blessing blocker in your own life. And you may be looking at it as, here am I trying to get my life together, but I'm still having memories that I'm holding on to from the past. Think about it this way. How have you been able to move forward from an event or an experience without forgiving the person? If you haven't been able to move forward, it means that you're holding on to unforgiveness. Do you think that you can forgive people, or you should forgive and forget about any experience that you've had, knowing that the experience is actually part of your growth process? What are you really doing after the event? What are you learning about yourself? How are you evolving? How are you allowing yourself to grow beyond that experience? What lessons are you learning from the experience? And how are you allowing it to shape your life going forward? What would it really cost you to forgive? And what would it cost you not to forgive? As you think about those questions, I will type them out because I really want you to begin to look at unforgiveness as the silent disease that may be the reason why you're stuck in your process and why you're not healing. Is forgiveness costing you? Is forgiveness costing you, or is unforgiveness costing you? So as I'm typing it, I want you to begin to think about it this way. What have you experienced with forgiveness, and how are you allowing yourself to really move beyond that experience of being able to forgive someone? Unforgiveness usually happens to us based on any experience we've gone through, bitterness, even from childhood. There are unconscious parts of us that hold on to unforgiveness with experiences from our parents, our caregivers. And we hold on to those emotions. We hold on to those experiences. We allow ourselves to morph our thinking into believing those things that may not necessarily be true. Like I've always shared with you, thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are not facts. And if you allow your thoughts to begin to create an atmosphere of unforgiveness, then you begin to build on to anger, resentment, bitterness, unhappiness, and you're going to begin to project whatever it is you're going through on other people that you come across in relationships without really allowing yourself to heal. And unforgiveness is the number one blessing blocker. Unforgiveness is a number one blessing blocker. If I can type today. I've been trying to get this done for over the week. It's been on my mind throughout the week. And one of the things that we don't realize is without forgiving people, we can't truly love ourselves. Let me say that again. Without forgiving people that you come across in your life experience, you will never love yourself or anybody else. You cannot love without forgiveness. You cannot love without forgiveness. That's something that I've written about in my book, Beyond the Pain. And you have to look at it as, if I cannot move beyond this pain, then it means that I cannot even love myself. Hi, Olu, I see you. I cannot even love myself. And if I cannot love myself, how do I expect to love other people? And the anger, the bitterness, the resentment, the frustration that you're holding on to based on inability to forgive other people and yourself is the reason why you're so angry with yourself. Not the other people, but yourself. Because everything you're holding on to is within your own space. Everything you're holding on to is within your own space. When you hold on to anger, anger is a teacher. When you hold on to bitterness, bitterness is a teacher. When you hold on to unforgiveness, unforgiveness is a teacher. Because what forgiveness does is to liberate you from that thought process, is to liberate you from that hurt, is to liberate you from that pain, is to allow you to begin to break free from what's breaking you down. But when you're choosing unforgiveness, which is a choice, you're choosing to stay in a place of pain and hurt yourself. Let me say that again. When you're choosing unforgiveness, you're choosing to stay in a place that's hurting you, and you're self-inflicting pain on yourself without you even knowing it. It's an unconscious choice. Unforgiveness is a choice. Let me type that out. Unforgiveness is a choice, and so is forgiveness. You have to ask yourself, what are you choosing? Every time you get triggered by the painful memory that you're holding on to, unforgiveness shows up. And then you act out behaviorally. It's a behavioral thing that's morphing you into who you're not. And what you do is based on the fear of somebody else hurting you from the unforgiveness that you're holding on to, based on somebody coming into your space, saying a word that acts as a trigger, based on the unforgiveness that you're holding on to, your behavior begins to change towards other people. But the fact about forgiveness is, hi Simone, I see you. Thanks so much for joining. The fact about unforgiveness is it's a repeated pattern that you're unconsciously aware of. You may say, I forgive this person, but as long as you're not forgetting that event, you haven't truly forgiven. Let me say that part again, because I really want this to sink. Every time you say, I forgive this person, but you're choosing to hold on to the memory, the thought about that pain, that trauma, you haven't truly forgiven the other person. And you're choosing unforgiveness as your only option. That's why when something happened to you 10 years ago, you may still speak about it in the present like it's still happening to you today without letting go of it. I had to learn this myself during my healing process. Like I said, healing is a lifetime process. I'm still going through the healing process myself. Every single day is an opportunity to heal. And part of the healing process is forgiveness. Because without forgiveness, you're going to hold on to resentment, bitterness, and anger. I've written so much about this in Beyond the Pain and on Becoming Restored. You can grab them and begin to learn. But you have to understand that without liberating yourself and releasing, the key word is releasing the hurt, releasing the pain, releasing the person from your mindset, you have not truly forgiven anyone, including yourself. Because forgiveness is a gift to you. It's a blessing to you to release people, to release pain, to release trauma, and allow yourself to break free from what's breaking you. Without forgiveness, you're just going to be fearful, resentful, bitter, create unlimited beliefs that hold you in a space where you don't belong. Does that mean that those people that you're choosing to forgive should be in your life? No. Forgiveness allows you to really tell yourself, I'm done, and I'm setting boundaries. Does it mean you don't love them anymore? No, you love them, but you've released them by forgiving. But when you're choosing not to forgive, you're going to talk about them, everything that has happened with them in the past, like it's happening in your present moment. And you're going to be the only person who's hurting. The other people don't know. They've moved on, but you haven't moved on. And if they haven't moved on, it also means they're operating from a place of pain. Unforgiveness is an exhibit that you are operating from a place of pain. You cannot love if you cannot forgive. Unforgiveness means pain or trauma or resentment or bitterness or unhappiness. And the only person who's going to suffer is you when you hold on to unforgiveness. It's a silent killer that you're not consciously aware of. It's a silent killer that's holding you in a place where you don't belong. It's a silent killer that's blocking your blessings every single day you wake up. Because every day is a brand new day. If you carry the sorrows of unforgiveness from yesterday into today, it means that you're living in the past. The inability to forgive means that you're still living in the past and you're not living in your present. So you're not releasing yourself of every event that should have been discarded, but you're holding on to events that are holding you bound where you don't belong. You have to ask yourself the question, who is the person hurting when I'm not forgiving other people? Who is the person suffering when you don't forgive other people? Who is the person who cannot thrive when you don't forgive other people? The answer is you. I had to learn this the hard way during my healing process. And it was one of the reasons why I went back to meet with the person who raped me at age 17. I don't put a label on anyone because labeling people is also part of unforgiveness. I had to go back to the guy who raped me at 17 during my healing process to forgive him. And I looked at him in the face. I scheduled an appointment and I had to travel over 1,400 miles to do it. And I looked at him and I said, I'm here to forgive you. And he wanted to take me back to all that experience. And I said, I don't live in the past anymore. Because one of the beauty about forgiveness is to be able to let go of the past. If you're not letting go of the past, it means that you're still holding on. And one of the ways that I really released it was to pray with him and to let him know, listen, I love you with the love of the one who created us, God himself, because God is love. And if I'm a replica of God and a reflection of God, then I have to be that love. And to be able to break free from this unforgiveness, I have to liberate you. I have to break this covenant that I'm holding on to with you that's holding me bound in a place where I don't belong. And hi Nana, thanks so much, I see you. And as I forgave him and I got back on my flight back to the US, the burden was so much lifted off me. It was like the weight that I carried on my shoulder was off. And there was a rush of peace within me. And I did not realize that not being able to forgive an event that happened to me at age 17, when I did the trip, I was 41. I held on from age 17 to age 41, and I was holding myself a prisoner of unforgiveness, and I was holding myself in a place of pain and trauma because I wasn't able to forgive. And I tell you, he wasn't the only person. I had friends, I had family members that I had to speak to, and I say, I forgive you, but I still have my boundaries. I forgive them doesn't mean I have to people please them anymore. Give me 1 second. I need to pull this out. I forgot to pull my doorbell out. And I had to go back and say, you know what? I forgive all of you. Does that mean that I don't love them anymore? I love them, but I have to have boundaries. Because now, if I put myself in a place where I'm still a doormat, then I'm choosing to reenact those events that brought me the pain. I'm the only one who will suffer the pain if I stay in that place of unforgiveness, and if I stay by holding on to people that have let go of me, and I'm saying, you know what? I forgive you, but I'm not going to forget. So I'm going to hold on to you as part of not forgetting, and then I'm going to hold on to the pain because, Chinya, you're welcome. And you have to understand that when you're still not forgetting the pain, you still haven't forgiven. Because you're still saying, I'm not releasing this pain. I'm going to hold on to this pain and still hurt myself. The only person who suffers from unforgiveness is you. The only person who hurts from unforgiveness is you. The only person who suffers when you decide not to forget after you forgive is you. So why are you creating a disease in your own environment than becoming healthy? Unforgiveness is evidence of freedom, because you're saying, I am choosing to let go of what is breaking me down and holding me bound of the freedom and the love that I deserve in my own space. You cannot love if you cannot forgive. If you cannot forgive, you will become bitter. You will become angry. You will become resentful. You will have a lot of pain in your life. Part of forgiving is owning your own truth and saying, you know what? I'm choosing to be the bigger person in this situation. No matter how much you hurt me because I allowed you, I have realized and come to that place of awakening that I have to forgive you so that I don't give you the power to hurt me again. Let me say that part again. As long as you can say to that person, I forgive you because I'm going to liberate myself from you. I'm going to release you so that you don't have the power to hurt me anymore. Then you will move into a space of love and freedom. But when you're choosing not to forgive, you're saying, I am choosing to allow you to dominate and control me with the hurt and the pain, and I am choosing to make myself an option, not a priority. And when you're choosing pain, pain and love cannot coexist. When you're choosing pain, pain and love cannot coexist. You can't love anyone from a place of pain or hurt or trauma, including yourself. That's from beyond the pain. You cannot have pain and love in the same place. You cannot have unforgiveness and love in the same atmosphere. You have to let go of one. And whichever one is you're choosing is the one that will dominate your life. And what you discover is when you're operating from a place of pain, all that you can get from there is judgment. You project your pain on other people. You judge them based on the pain that you're experiencing, and that may not be their own truth. Because you're pushing them to come into a place of hurt, not into a place of love. Because when you have pain and you have unforgiveness, you can't operate in a place of love. So you can't really love yourself. You can't really love any other person. You can project your pain on them. And you can judge them based on operating from a place of pain, not a place of love. And when you're in a place of pain or unforgiveness, you're going to operate in fear and you're going to operate with your ego. Because you're going to self-defense. You're going to self-sabotage. You're going to self-loathe. Unforgiveness births a lot of self-loathing. And it's evidence that you don't even have love for yourself. And you don't even know yourself yet. So for you to break free, the first thing is to choose to heal yourself. Choose to heal you. Choose to heal you. Because no one can heal you except you choose to heal yourself. Let me say that again. No one can heal you except you choose to heal yourself. That's from Unbecoming Restored. Choose to heal yourself. 2, choose to let go of what is breaking you down. What is breaking you down? Which is unforgiveness. That is what is breaking you mostly. Choose to let go of what is breaking you down. Unforgiveness. Part of the healing process is forgiveness. You can't move into healing without forgiving. And the first person you have to forgive is yourself. Forgive yourself. After you're able to forgive yourself, you will be able to forgive others. Because what you would realize is you did not know better then. You did not know better when you were operating in a place of pain to trauma bond with other people, to allow people to inflict pain on you. You didn't know better. They didn't know better because they were also operating on the same frequency, pain and unforgiveness. And you had to choose you. And when you choose you, you're choosing to heal you. You're choosing to forgive you. You're choosing to liberate yourself. You're choosing to release unforgiveness. And the moment you choose you, you are able to begin to learn to love yourself. Loving yourself comes easier when you're able to forgive. Loving yourself becomes easier when you're able to forgive. Loving yourself becomes easier when you are able to forgive. Because if you don't love you and you don't forgive, how can you embrace other people or even yourself? You have to release unforgiveness to be able to receive forgiveness. Release unforgiveness to be able to receive forgiveness. Release unforgiveness to be able to receive forgiveness. And once you release unforgiveness, you're opening yourself up to love. You're opening yourself up to happiness. You're opening yourself up to peace. Because no one can give you the peace if you're not creating the peace. I shared that quote last week. No one can create peace for you if you're not creating peace. And part of creating peace is forgiving people. And forgiveness doesn't mean they have to be in your space. Let me say that again. Forgiveness doesn't mean they have to be in your space because you're taking your power back. You can love people from afar. They don't always have to be in your present life. You are the CEO of your life. You're the one who God gave the key and the script to when he said, here you are, born into life. Go live it. And you are the only one who can control your own space. When you give your power away to other people to hurt you and accept the hurt, you create room for unforgiveness. But when you give yourself the ability to forgive and heal and now set healthy boundaries, which is number 6, set healthy boundaries, then you're saying, I'm choosing to take over the power and control my life. Your life is what you can control. Nobody else can control it. And you're taking that power back and saying, you know what? I love you from a distance, but I'm going to also have healthy boundaries so that you're not coming back, and I'm going to accept her as my only choice. I'm going to accept unforgiveness as my only choice. You are choosing you. And the power to choose you is the power that liberates you from all the hurt and pain that you've buried that have caused so much anxiety, panic, limited beliefs, insomnia, and any other medical disease. Because again, there are 8 areas of life. And if they're not all balanced, then one area will suffer. And the area that suffers most is your emotional health and your mental health. Those 2 areas, the emotional and mental health, suffer a lot. And we don't really pay attention. Those are the areas that change our behavior. They don't change who you are. They change your behavior, and people now see your behavior as who you are because, again, it's operating from a place of pain. And you allow unforgiveness to morph you into who you're not and start to believe that that's who you are. You cannot love if you cannot forgive. And that love includes loving yourself. You cannot love if you cannot forgive. Think about it. Every single day that God grants you life, He's forgiving you about yesterday because yesterday doesn't even exist. But if you're holding on to yesterday and every bitter thing that has happened to you yesterday or every painful experience, then it means you're holding on to unforgiveness. And the only person who suffers from the silent disease that's killing you is you. Since I began my healing journey 12 years ago, I have learned to forgive a lot of people. I remember somebody asking me last week, oh, I see you and your son's father speak a lot. How do you do it? I said the power of forgiveness. And I had to sit down and explain what forgiveness looks like in that environment. It's realizing that God gave us a covenant, a child, And for me to raise that child, for us to raise that child in an atmosphere of love, we have to experience forgiveness. And if we don't experience forgiveness, then we can't really raise that child in a place of love. You cannot love if you cannot forgive. And so I had to release all the pain. I had to learn the lessons, because my son's father is a blessing to my life, because without that experience, I wouldn't know who I am today. I wouldn't even have written all the 4 books that I've written. I wouldn't have become a global speaker or a global coach. I wouldn't be here speaking to you today. I had to go through that experience because it was part of my process to finding myself. But I had to make the commitment to find myself and to forgive to be able to reach where I am today. Does that mean that you won't have the thoughts flushing back in your mind? You will, because people will try to bring you back into a place of pain, but you have to remind yourself, you no longer live there. You have been liberated. You have been liberated. What people did to you was to show you who they are. And if you have to really come to the awareness, part of forgiving yourself is to look at what role did you play in that experience? What role did you play? And then you own that truth about the role that you played. And you say, you know what? I'm owning that part of my journey as my own experience. No one can give me that. I can give myself that. I can give myself the experience of not knowing better. I only was trying to use my glasses to read comments. I can give myself the experience of not knowing better and to emerge and evolve and become restored in my own life, so that as I become restored, I can live my life better. I can create happiness for me. I can create peace for me. And it doesn't have to look like what everybody else's look like, because I'm unique. So today I want you to look at your life. What are you holding on to that's making you not forgive yourself and others, that's blocking you from loving yourself? Why don't you want to forgive and forget and release the pain and release the hurt and release the disease that's breaking you down? What will it cost you to forgive yourself and other people and move into a space of love? How is it affecting you emotionally and mentally if you're not releasing unforgiveness? Are you your own blessing blocker? Let me ask the last question. Are you your own blessing blocker because you're refusing to forgive? You cannot love if you cannot forgive, and that includes loving yourself. And if you're choosing unforgiveness, then you're choosing hurt, pain, and trauma as your only option. You're not making yourself priority. Whatever it is, release so that you can receive forgiveness for yourself. Release so that you can receive love for yourself. Release so that you can receive peace for yourself. Release so that you can receive happiness for yourself. Because no one can make you happy. You are the source of your own happiness. You are the source of your own peace. Because God has already given it to you. You can pray for it from today or tomorrow, but if you're not releasing unforgiveness, you may not receive what you're praying for. And that creates an atmosphere where you're blocking your own blessings. And you're creating pain for yourself. What are you choosing? And I go deeper into forgiveness in purposeful relationship inner circle and purposeful relationship mastery program that I teach others, because I had to learn this the hard way. People ask me today, how are you able to keep up with people that you dated in the past that are friends with you now? The power of forgiveness. What if one of those people that you're not forgiving is the one sitting in a place where your child needs to get into admission, and you're holding on to unforgiveness, and then you get there and you're still so resentful, and they look at you like, oh, you've become your own blessing blocker? What if you had to go on a job and it was somebody that really you did not forgive because they hurt you, was the person who is going to be your interviewer. What would that look like for you? If you cannot forgive, you can't even show them love. Listen, forgiveness is so easy. Forgiveness is free. Forgiveness is free. Forgiveness is free. Make it your priority. It is not an option. You can make the choice, but for every choice you make, there's a consequence that you have to face. For every choice you make, there's a consequence you have to face. And that's from beyond the pain. Forgiveness is a choice. And if you're choosing unforgiveness as your choice, then you're choosing to hold yourself bound. What are you choosing? And how is it working for you? How is it serving you? I chose to forgive because I wanted my freedom. I chose to forgive because I had to heal myself. I chose to forgive because I had to learn to love myself. I chose to forgive because I had to break free from what was breaking me down. And I chose to get on a flight that was over $1,000 to go forgive the person who raped me at 17 and was the foundation for all the pain that I carried for a long time. I had other foundational pain, but that was the major trauma that I carried for a long time. And I chose to go forgive. And I held hands and I prayed. And I said, I release you. Does it mean they have to be in my space? No. I was releasing the pain. I was releasing the hurt. And I was committing to loving myself and healing myself. You cannot love if you cannot forgive. If you have questions, I will take your questions, because I believe that forgiveness is the foundation of healing. And if you're not choosing forgiveness, then you're not choosing you. If you have questions, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions to help you move forward. If you have questions and you don't want to post them, you can email coaching@kemisogunle.com, and I'll be more than happy to respond to you. And if you're willing to jump on coaching with me in the Purposeful Relationship Inner Circle, which is a monthly membership, you can do that. If you want one-on-one coaching, you can do that as well. Forgiveness holds a power that liberates you. And that's the only thing that can really free you of everything that's breaking you. Resentment, anger, bitterness, every anxiety you're causing yourself, every trigger that you're having, all holds unforgiveness. What are you choosing? And how is it serving you? I just wanted to share that with you today because I know somebody needs this. The power to break free from what's breaking you down is forgiving yourself and forgiving others as part of your healing process. And you have to commit to it. It's not a one-time shot. It's a lifetime process. Because as well as healing is a lifetime process. And every time you choose to forgive, you give yourself the power to love beyond what you can even fathom. Forgiveness is free. And it is a gift for you, not the other people. It is a gift for you. And it doesn't mean they have to understand your journey. Let me say that again. It doesn't mean they have to understand your journey. Because your journey is yours and yours alone. They're only bringing you conscious awakening to find yourself, to love yourself, to know you. Olu says, my older brother once told me anger is self-imposed punishment for the actions of others. That's true. That is very true. Anger is an attribute of pain and trauma. And the only person you're punishing is you. Most of the things that we hold on to, without healing is self-imposed. Anger is self-imposed. Bitterness is self-imposed. Resentment is self-imposed. Nobody can do those things to you if you're not choosing those things as your choices, and then you suffer the consequences of what you're holding on to. Unforgiveness is a choice. And if you're holding on to unforgiveness, you will birth fear, anger, resentment, bitterness, and so much more. High blood pressure, because every time you get triggered, anger is awakened. Your blood pressure goes up. So what are you choosing? And how is it serving you? How is it serving you? Because you see, no one can free you if you're not freeing yourself. No one can free you if you're not freeing yourself. No one can free you. And you have to truly look at your life. Is that what you really want for you? Do you have the peace of mind that you need? Like I said, you can't create peace if you're not seeking for it by forgiving and forgetting. You not only forgive, you have to forget, because every time you say, I'm not going to forget, you're still holding on to resentment and unforgiveness, and you're punishing yourself. You're not punishing anybody else. You're only punishing yourself. I've been there before, and I had to learn to forgive. And that includes my own family. I had to forgive them. Does it mean that I don't love them? I love them, but I now have boundaries. It took me a lot to look at myself. Michelle, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm only a vessel. I'm allowing God to really use me. Because that was the prayer that I prayed when I told him, give me one more chance to leave. I've shared my story so many times. I was almost dying. And I said, if I can do this, I challenged him. I said, if you're God and you're there, give me the power to leave again. And one of the first things I had to learn from my healing process was forgiveness. I had to forgive myself. I didn't know better when I was choosing to be in places that I was getting hurt. It wasn't just the only other person. What role did I play? How did I allow them to mistreat me? And what was I accepting? I was accepting things because I had not learned to forgive myself. I had not learned to love myself. I had not learned to heal myself. And I had to make a commitment to myself, because my life is about me. I'm the one who God gave the key to go leave it. And whatever I do with it, I have to be responsible for it. So I had to become accountable for everything I was allowing. I had to become responsible for what I had allowed. And I had to forgive myself and release those things, because they were bringing me into a place where I was getting more hurt. Pain always attracts pain. You can't attract love when you're in a place of pain. You will attract more hurt to yourself. You will trauma bond. If you look at your friends, take this example. Look at your friends. Where are they in terms of pain and hurt? Are they people that can easily forgive? I forgave a lot of my friends when I went through my process 12 years ago. I had a friend reach out to me 2 years ago to say, you know what? They exited my life at the point where God knew they weren't one of the people that he needed to help me. And I accepted that. And they came back and they were like, sent me a friend's request and said, oh, I knew you were going to go through all of this, but I just couldn't say anything. So I had to keep silence. And I said, silence is a form of self-abuse. You couldn't tell me better because you didn't know better then. But I forgive you, because I had to go through this process to become who I am now and to become restored. So you weren't part of the people that God meant to use to help me to get to where I was. And I forgive you for that, because you didn't know better. And I forgive myself. But unfortunately, I can't let you back in because I'm in a better place now. I had to put down the boundary. If they get upset, it's not on me, it's on them. Because I'm telling them where I'm operating from now. A place of love, and love always has boundaries. So I had to choose to forgive, but I also keep the boundaries. They can call me now and say hello, hi, but there's a limit to the conversation we can have because, again, I don't operate from where they are. Then I had another person call me last year to say, hey, your story about this, when we stopped talking, this was where you are. And I said, I forgive you because you still see me living in the past, but I don't live in the past. I live in the present moment. So if you're operating from the past, you're operating from a place of pain and hurt, and your judgment comes from a place of pain. So we're not on that place again. I've moved forward and I forgive you for trying to bring my past up because my past no longer exists. I only create the past when I hold on to it. The past no longer exists. So I forgive you and I release you because you can't be in my present. They can get upset, but I stood my boundaries, my healthy boundaries, because I'm now healing and I don't want to put myself in a place of pain again. And that's the power of forgiveness because you're able to be yourself. You don't have to people please. You don't have to say no to yourself. You're saying yes to you because you're becoming better. You're becoming aware of who you truly are. You're finding your true essence. Your soul is no longer lingering and wandering all over the place to acquire more pain. Your soul is lingering to freedom and love and happiness. And there's a glow to it. There's a glow to it. And there are people who want to understand it, and you don't need to explain to people where you are, where you're going. Not everybody needs to understand your journey or understand where you're operating from. And you don't even have to create a room for arguments. Forgiveness liberates you. It births you into peace, happiness, and peace, and love that no one can give to you but yourself. What are you choosing? I remember being at that open house. I think it was 3 years ago. I was at that open house. I was hosting an open house because I'm a realtor as well. And this former manager of mine walked into the door and was shocked with his wife. And he looked at me, he had mistreated me. And the first thing I said was, hey, I forgive you for the past. How are you doing? And he froze. And I started to, provide value that could help them with the home hunting that they were looking for. And he stood frozen. And I said, forgiveness liberates that pain. I no longer see you in the past because I don't live in the past anymore. If you're holding on to it, then it's on you. And we exchange numbers. That's the power of forgiveness because you allow people to see that you're in the present. You're no longer in the past. The past has no hold over you, except you're choosing to accept the past. But the past doesn't exist. It's only created based on illusions of the mind. And your thoughts are not facts. So if you're holding on to thoughts of the past, they're not factual. They don't exist anymore. You're only recreating them to bring yourself into a place of pain, where love and forgiveness cannot reside. What are you choosing? Today, I want to challenge you to choose you. By looking at where you are now, take on this assignment. Create a list of the things that you're holding on to on the left side. On the right side, create a list of the contacts that you will reach out to forgive. Create a list of your experiences that are holding you in a place of unforgiveness on the left side of your sheet of paper. On the right side, list the contacts that you're going to reach out to forgive and release so that you can release the pain from your life and break free from what's breaking you. The silent disease and killer. And as you write, the ones that you cannot reach, Don't worry. Say it out. Recite the forgiveness statement with their name on it to release it from your life. The ones that you can reach out to them. You don't have to respond when they respond to you. You're just the one releasing. Remember, forgiveness is for you. As you look at every contact, reach out to them and share your forgiveness statement. I'm going through my healing process, and your name came up in my healing process. And it brings me back a painful memory. But today I'm choosing to forgive you because we didn't know better then. I'm choosing to forgive you because I want to heal myself. And I'm releasing you. And as you do that, watch yourself feel the weight drop from your shoulder, because our body does keep a score of unforgiveness. Your shoulders will be heavy. Your life will be heavy. Your mind will be heavy when you're holding on to unforgiveness. But the power to break free is to forgive so that the weight drops off your shoulder, off your mind, off your life, and you begin to experience peace. Like I said, when I had to travel over 1,400 miles to go forgive the guy who raped me, I will not put a label on him because labeling is part of unforgiveness. I had to look and smile and say, I forgive you. And he thought I was crazy, because that was the first thing he said. Are you mad? Then he started trying to reenact the experience. And I said, I don't live in the past. I just came to forgive you. And then he started sharing his painful experience. And I said, I just want to pray for you. And I prayed. And I left. And as I left, I felt the weight of my shoulder lift. Before I could even say the statement of forgiveness, my heart was racing like crazy. I was jittery. I was anxious for no reason, because my body had kept a score from age 17 to age 41 of the pain. And when I got there, I had sweaty palms and feet. Because what came up in my mind, because my body was keeping a score, was anger. But I was only angry at myself. He tried to hug me and I said, no, I'm not here for a hug. I'm here for forgiveness. And I said, God gave me another chance. And I said, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to forgive. No matter how much you try to hurt me, you won't have the power, because I have the power to forgive you. And that's it. Olu says, Kemi, so basically forgiveness is a gift that gives beyond those being forgiven. Absolutely. It gives you peace because you've been holding on to that memory of pain for so long. And the only person who has been in a place of pain is you. They may have forgotten the experience. And let me break it down for you, because when I had to go on that trip to forgive the guy who raped me, the first thing he did when he saw me was, oh my goodness, you're still so hot. And I was like, I'm no longer in that place. My body is a temple now, and I have to honor and respect it. And I'm here to forgive you. I didn't even let him start conversation. I just cut the conversation short and I said, I'm here to forgive you. And I had a smile with it. And at first he tried to ignore the conversation, but I said, I have to come to forgive you to be able to heal from this pain that I've carried for so long, from age 17 to age 41. I'm over 50 now. And as I said it, my sweaty palms just stopped being sweaty. I had this calmness in my soul, because my soul had longed for answers and was wandering with pain. And forgiveness liberates your soul. Pain holds your soul in a place where you don't even live. You're just existing. And I had to sit down and say, what a relief. I couldn't talk about the rape before then until I learned to forgive myself. and I forgave him. That was when I started speaking with. I remember the first time I spoke about it was I was at a 3-day event in London for my book launch, Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality. That was the first place I was able to talk about it. And I was liberated there as well. Because talking about it also liberates you. You're healing from it. You're no longer keeping it internal. When you keep everything internal, you're silent about it. And it's giving you the power of unforgiveness. And it's breaking you and eating you up like a disease inside. But when you now forgive yourself, you own that truth. It's an experience that has shaped your life and helped you move forward. Without the experiences, we don't have life. We're not living. Every experience is part of your process. And you have to accept the experience because you didn't know better then. And that's why you have to forgive yourself. And take what you learned from the experience about yourself. What were you giving? And what were you accepting? If you were giving the hurt that you've carried for so long, you were accepting hurt from other people because that's how they treat you. Whatever you present is what people, treat you with. Now that you're in a space of love, you know you're not going to experience pain because you're not going to give yourself to pain again. You can only give yourself to love. Does that mean that there won't be people who will try to inflict pain on you after you've healed or you're healing? Absolutely not. But you now have the healthy boundaries and power to put a stop to it because you're taking back control of your life by breaking into freedom through forgiveness. The beauty of forgiveness is you look from a place of love at people that are coming when you're healing and saying, I see you. I see where you are. And I forgive you for trying to come in, but it's not allowed in this space anymore because I'm healing and I'm learning to love myself. That's the power of forgiveness. You cannot love if you cannot forgive. Pain and unforgiveness reside in the same place. Love and forgiveness reside in the same place. The one you choose will be the one that will dominate your life in your mind. What are you choosing? Today I'm encouraging you to choose the power to forgive, the power to break free, the power to heal, the power to love yourself, the power to own your journey, own your truth and experiences, and understand that they're all part of the process. And the process is not meant to confine you, it's meant to refine you. Let me type that out. The process, if I can type today, the process is not meant to confine you, but refine you. And healing is part of your process. Forgiveness is part of the process. But what are you choosing? And what is serving you? You cannot love if you cannot forgive. That's about it for today. That's about it for today. You cannot love if you cannot forgive. Forgiveness is a gift to you. What are you choosing? And how is it serving you? Remember to never stop loving while living. When you stop loving, you stop living. When you stop living, it means it's time to go back to the Maker. And as long as God is giving you grace every single day, showing you forgiveness and love, choose that. Love always wins. Love always conquers. Love is the ultimate source of living. And if you're not living and loving, then you're existing. If you're not living and loving, then you're existing. And you may be choosing unforgiveness as a choice. Always remember, for every choice you make, there is a consequence that you face. Choose wisely. You'll have an amazing week. Talk to you soon. Take good care. God bless. Bye-bye.